You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime. You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
Happy Selection Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is Season 14, Episode 1 of the podcast. Before we get into it, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. The last two remaining episodes of Season 13, after a few weeks of a hiatus, will be up as long as with this video tomorrow. I'll have all three videos go up about somewhere between 10 and 11, maybe 12. Just you'll hear the other stuff, the plans for Season 14 in Episode 21. If I'm not mistaken, yes, 21, 22, you'll hear it in those episodes. But that's enough talk. As you see the title of the video, today is Selection Sunday. March Madness is upon us for the men and women. But I'm not here alone. I had to bring back. I had to get my partner in crime. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Brenden Potts. Woo! Brenden, what's going on, buddy? Happy Selection Sunday. How are you doing, sir?
Happy Selection Sunday to everybody. This is the happiest Selection Sunday for me, and I feel like we're about to go into why.
Absolutely. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, Brenden and I are both sports writers for our respective websites, and Brenden, your Cougars won the Pac-12 championship. Congratulations. And congratulations also to you got to go down there the whole 3 days. Just briefly just talk about the experience. What was it like? What did you like about the tournament for the Pac-12?
Yes, as you can see on my shirt here, we're the champs. So last Sunday was easily the best day of my life. But I actually went there as a fan, and I went to 3 days of the Pac-12 tournament. We played 4 of them. I missed the Cal game, and that was down in Las Vegas. Lots to do in Las Vegas. The trick is to find something not to do. What an experience. Truly, what an experience to watch the Cougs. I'm a big diehard Cougs women's basketball fan. I actually know all of them personally, and they're a fun group to watch. They're a fun group to root for. But aside from them, the Pac-12 has a lot of really good basketball. I watched a little bit of the UCLA Arizona game. I watched a little bit of the Stanford UCLA game, the last quarter and a half of that game. Besides the WSU Utah game, one of the biggest wins in program history. I put next to the title game, and the Colorado game and the UCLA game. Something that was really cool on a personal level was I know some of the people in the Pac-12 personally. I know Cameron Brink. I met her when they came to when Stanford came to WSU. Big Cameron Brink fan. So that was cool to see her again. I also met J.R. Payne, the coach for the Buffs. Met her when they came to Pullman as well, so it was really cool to see her. And then someone I actually met for the first time was Adia Barnes, the coach for Arizona. That was very, very cool. So it's a cool experience as a Coug fan, and that was a very memorable experience, and I got to celebrate on the floor. I got to take a picture with the trophy. That was insanely cool. But like as a basketball fan, as a women's basketball fan, that was an experience all on its own. So
Sorry, I had to squeeze that in there for you.
No, you're good. That's how I was doing. That's how I was feeling the entire tournament, man. It really was.
I'm happy for him. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, stayed safe out there, didn't get in any trouble. I caught the championship game. Great win for them. Regular season, you guys finished strong too. We're going to get into that just a little bit. For me, I write for the Maryland women's basketball team, and this is my first year, MarylandSportsBlog.com, and it was different. I wish I could have been up there in Minneapolis, but just being able to not only see Maryland, but Iowa, Indiana, Ohio State, Big Ten's got some competition. Those young women can play. One thing that was a little disappointing, I will say, was she played, I think her name's Kayleen Brown. I want to say that's her name. Suffered a significant leg injury. That was kind of that was shocking. Hope she's doing well. I know she plays for Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. But congratulations to those Iowa Hawkeyes, as they're another year Big Ten champs.
I'd say the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are two of the best conferences in women's basketball. I think the Pac-12 is, but
I think the SEC would have something to say about that.
No, come on, man. The Pac-12 has the best talent in women's college basketball.
For sure. Really quick, we're just going to transition. Brenden, just give a quick take on what did you think of the regular season for Washington State, and what did you like about this season for the whole women's basketball season?
Yeah, the regular season, I believe we posted 19. Yeah, we got 19 wins. But if you look at a lot of our losses this year for Washington State, they're all explainable. Like I think the only one that's not like explainable, a game that we could have won in any way possible, is a Stanford game in Pullman. We just shot very bad, and credit to their defense. They're a great defensive team. But I mean, every single loss that we've had has been a game that we could have won in some capacity. So 19 wins for us is actually very good. We finished with, including the postseason, we have 23 wins, which is a program record. And I'm feeling very strong heading into this postseason, into this tournament. Depending on where we're seated, but it's seven. We have 19 wins, and we finished 7th in the Pac-12. And we finished, I believe, with the same record that we did last year, and we finished 3rd in the Pac-12. And that just shows how good the Pac-12 is this year. There's a lot of good talent in this conference, and we knew that coming in. But it just shows how much good talent and good teams there are in this tournament, or in this conference. And I believe 7 or 8 teams are going to make the tournament from this conference.
Okay. I think this season overall, it actually was expected. I didn't expect I expected South Carolina to remain consistent, but to finish 32-0, that's a tough 32-0. LSU, I'm not sold on them. I love Angel Reese. I love her to death, but that was a cupcake schedule. The Big East, even though UConn dealt with injuries, it survived. The ACC, NC State is a little disappointing. Iowa State, and Ashley Jones is supposed to be is going into the draft this year. I have to rethink about that one because they just. Other than that, great round of basketball. Which brings me to my next point. I didn't have time to make the banner for it, but the Players of the Year was announced Thursday, and Leah Edwards, Alyssa Pali, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Ashley Jones, Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Elizabeth Kitley, Mackenzie Holmes, and Maddie Cedrus out of Villanova. When you hear that list, who do you think should be Player of the Year?
Yeah, I think the best player in that group is Caitlin Clark. I think that's it's a slam dunk pick, and you can't really go wrong with it. She's the person that I would say, like, she's a pro on a women's college team. And I said the same thing about Corey Kispert with Gonzaga last year. But another name I would say is Alyssa Peely. I gotta go with the Pac-12 love here, but Alyssa Peely, Cameron Brink, I'm a big fan of. But yeah, if I'm gonna pick one name, it's probably Caitlin Clark for sure.
I'm gonna go with Aaliyah Boston, only because to me, South Carolina was the best basketball team, 32-0. She averaged 13, 10 rebounds and 2 blocks a game. Angel Reese, it was a true total difference maker for LSU on both sides of the floor. I think she almost averaged like 24 a game, 15 and a half rebounds. I think it was like a steal and a block per game. Yes, they went 28-2. Maddie Cedrus, oh my gosh, averaging 29 points a game. Every game this season, she scored 20 or more points. I can't ignore that. And we all know Caitlin Clark, is the best player. She was Big Ten Player of the Year. If I had to, it has to go to Leah Boston. That's just me. Now, also to the Coaches of the Year, and this is where things get a little interesting. So Dawn Staley, Kim Mulkey, Lisa Bluder, Terry Morin, Denise Dillon, Joe Tartamella, St. John's, Kenny Brooks, Virginia Tech, Lane Roberts, Neil Ivory, and Vic Schaefer. There's a couple names that should not be on this list, and it's no disrespect, but Vic Schaefer, I thought the way Texas finished this regular season was very disappointing, and Kim Mulkey, LSU. That schedule it was weak, and when the lights were the brightest against South Carolina, and then you lost to Tennessee in the SEC championship. So you could have said Shauna Green, Illinois should definitely be considered. Brenda Freeze, I'm surprised the way everybody at the beginning of the season, not everybody, it was some question what this Maryland team would look like. 9 different transfers, and to have another 20+ win season to not get any consideration, I think that's crazy. Gino, I would have really considered him, not having Paige Beckers, and then AZ Fudd was out for a good chunk of time. They dealt with injuries up and down that lineup, the whole roster, and to win the Big East and still potentially get to a number 2 seed for March Madness. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, first of all, I'm taking off Kim Mulkey as well, and I'm actually coming to the defense of UConn fans of putting Gino in there. You said it earlier, like UConn has been riddled up and down with injuries, and yet they've stayed the course, and they've stayed relevant in terms of a top basketball program, and that's due to coaching. Like that's what coaching does, and so I'm gonna put Gino in that list, but I gotta show some bias in this next one, but it's much deserved. It's not all bias. I'm putting Cammie Etheridge in there, Washington State's coach, and I know it's over a 1-year span, but you have look at what she's done the last 5 seasons with this program. Like, we've been a bottom feeding program. I mean, the last odd number of years before she's come into WSU and completely turned the program around. And the fact that I get to wear this shirt is a testament to the things that she does with this program. And she's doing this in the toughest conference to play, and we're at 23 wins right now in a season, which is a program record, like I said. And it's just a testament to her coaching. And I think it's time for her to get recognition on the national stage. But I have to give a shout out to The Athletic, because she did win athletic or the athletic coach of the year. So shout out to them for getting something right.
Definitely. So like you said, as we say, happy Selection Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, I have to get a commercial here. Shout out to Mr. Anthony Handy, founder of Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're famous. And here is the commercial.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
And you can dress like you're famous with my code BIGNATE, 15% off. Dress like you're famous. Zagnif Apparel. Let's transition. Excuse me, I apologize. Let's transition into the madness, shall we? Selection Sunday will be this evening, 8 o'clock. And the final, what seems to be a bracket that has changed what it would look like, God knows how many times. I think this could be the bracket. As you can see on the bubble, the last four byes: Alabama, Illinois, Mississippi State, Miami. Last four in: Marquette, Kansas, Purdue, St. John's. The first four out: West Virginia, Columbia, Oregon, Arkansas. The next four out: Syracuse, Nebraska, Kansas State, and Washington. Brenden, when you look at on this bubble, is there any team that stands out to you that's not there?
I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. I think the bracket has seven Pac-12 teams in. I'm gonna put Oregon in. And I kind of said that on social media when they beat UW, Washington, and they won that game by a two-point layup or a 2-point shot to get them past the next round. And I think that was going to be the difference maker in getting an eighth team into the Pac-12 and who it was going to be between those two, because the race was so close. But nothing really outside. Yeah, nothing really outside of that. I'm just putting Oregon into this field to get an eighth Pac-12 team in.
When I look at this one, nothing really stands out. I think this is accurate. Who's on the bubble? If you push me, Mississippi State should, I think, is going to surprise some teams. Miami, that's a sleeper. Kansas State, I don't expect them to get out. I think they'll get to about 30. I think they get to 32, and then that'll be it, because they don't have a core league. Other than that, this is accurate. Now,
prayers up to her and Sedona Prince, by the way. Get well soon.
Absolutely. Now, as we get to the main meat and potatoes, now it's a second year in a row where there's 68 teams, because we all know for the men, they've used that since 2011, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be very, very interesting. The opening round is always the first four, where you got the four lowest seeds and the lowest seeds automatic qualifiers, and the four lowest, I think, is at large teams. I think, and that determines how it looks. So, Southern University, Mammoth University, Sacred Heart, and Chattanooga in the Greenville regions have the unfortunate pleasure of being those seeds. And then for those, that's it. It's only 4 teams. So for you guys, actually, Purdue, St. John. So the winner of those, either that team faces you guys in the Durham region, and then the winner of the Southern and Mammoth painfully has to play South Carolina, and the same one for Indiana. Do you see any surprises or upsets?
For the you know what? I'm just happy that that WSU is not matched up to play South Carolina. On this side, I'm happy that it's USC. But in terms of the first four, not really. I guess I'll take Chattanooga and Purdue. No, I'll take St. John's there, and then I'll take Kansas, and then I'll take Monmouth.
I was muted. Sorry. I think it's going to be Southern, Marquette, St. John, and Sacred Heart. I think those four teams are going to face the number one potential of the number one seeds. Now, the biggest thing that stands out to me, these number one seeds, without a shadow of a doubt, South Carolina, Indiana are locks, no brainer. But you got two other ones. Iowa's making a case, Stanford, UConn, or Virginia Tech. Now, my question is, how is the committee taking in consideration the body of work each team does? Now, Virginia Tech, for example, if I remember correctly, they finished with 11 straight wins, especially against top 25 opponents. And they won their first ACC tournament. I think the last time that they were the 4th seed. That was back in like the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So it would be surprising if they're not a number one seed. I'm also looking at the same thing. I'm just not. I see Iowa getting to like the Elite Eight, maybe the Sweet 16, but it's going to come down to defense. I just don't think you can beat teams just shooting the ball. It's going to come down to defense. Because if you look, Iowa and Indiana, I believe shared. I say Stanford. They're better. I say they kind of have. You kind of can agree with this because you Pac-12, they kind of have some similarities in their styles of play, both teams. So I really am curious to see. I'm a little concerned with Stanford because the way they've this collapsed down the stretch. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm concerned. I think they'll get a 2 seed, but I think I don't see it. Do you see a wild card with those two remaining number one seeds? Brenden?
Yeah. I think I don't like Iowa as a number one or as a number one seed. I would rather see UConn in that number one seed over in that region. Would I be surprised if Iowa is a number one seed? No, but I just don't like that. And then I think it puts a lot of pressure on them to go far in this thing. And then Yeah, I feel like on the other side, it's a wild card as well because Stanford has the potential to be a number one seed. Stanford has the potential to win the entire thing. But they're so you don't know what you're gonna get with them. In terms of are they going to be a team that dominates the entire thing like they are accustomed to doing, or are you going to get a team that collapses like you talked about late in the season or in the Pac-12 tournament? Now, I wouldn't say them losing to a team like Utah is a collapse, but losing to a team like UCLA in a like must win type of a tournament for any team but them really is a collapse, and it's a must win for them if you want to get a number one seed. So
I'm with you on that one. I'm curious to see how they're going to get this one. I don't know if they're going to go off by wins, losses, because if you think about it, Iowa, Stanford, and UConn, I think all have the same about number of losses. I think Iowa has one more loss than Stanford and UConn. I mean, Iowa did lose. I think they lost to Kansas State, who was in that next four out, and then Illinois, who was projected to be a number 9 seed. I
think with Iowa, if you show as a coach, if you scout correctly on Caitlin Clark, you can beat them or at least compete with them very easily. The problem is she's Caitlin Clark.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, but when the thing is, to me, like I think Stanford. I think they're going to give Stanford the benefit of the doubt because they do have you have a conference championship on the resume, and I mean, other than that Stanford's had shown more body of work this year compared to Iowa. And for me, like, yes, even though down the stretch they faded, they still were consistent. Now, that also, brings up the argument for UConn because I think they could be the trump card because, in the beginning of the season in February, I use January, February, against Big East opponents, they were horrible. They struggled. I think they finished 11-3, and even though they lost to Marquette and St. John's, and then looked lackadaisical against DePaul and Georgetown, teams that are on the up and coming. I really would like to wonder if they're taking that into consideration. Now, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday was the Big 12 tournament, and Oklahoma won. No, they lost to Iowa State. So that means North Carolina and Villanova are the 15th and 16th seeds for their region. So that means I don't know where you would put them. And then you have Tennessee, Duke, and then there's Texas. What do you think?
Well, we got Iowa State won the Big 12 today, their tournament today, so they clinched an automatic bid. And then I think you gotta. It's or no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about last year. I was gonna say like Iowa and Iowa State are in the same region like they were last year, but I was looking
Yeah,
at a
no,
different section.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
yeah, they're in
Uh,
Greenville.
yeah. Um, I think an upsetting. No, I mean, it's pretty standard here. Like Iowa State, Big 12. Look on the other side. You got Baylor, Miami, Colorado, UNLV, um, USC,
Sacramento
Illinois.
State. That's a potential sleeper.
Yeah. I think UCLA is a tough team though. I think uh yeah, no, I agree. South Carolina State's or I'm sorry, Sacramento State. Um I for an upset in this one, I'm gonna go with Marquette or Kansas over Arizona. Um I just I always overrate Arizona. They are just not that impressive of a team to me. Um I think anybody could beat them in the first couple rounds. Um, could they completely prove me wrong and go to the final four? Yeah, sure. But I just always overrate Arizona. I just don't think they're that good. Um, an upset in the Greenville two version or in the Greenville two region. Um, Got to go with Florida Gulf Coast, man. I picked them last year to go to the Sweet 16. They only got me one round, but I was one of those fortunate to pick them in the upsetting round or in the first round last year, and I got that one right. So I would have to go with Florida Gulf Coast over Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the who's in and who's out currently still, and
Yeah.
I mean, oh, I feel like some of the recent tournaments that kind of put a damper on some things. Um,
Right.
I mean, I think Saint John definitely should be the last team to make the tournament. Um, I mean, you can make a case. Obviously you got Columbia and West Virginia in there, but I mean, I think that's another thing. What is the committee looking at? I think that's the question because West Virginia obviously had the most wins, um, beating St. John, which is a better team, and then Columbia, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had an overall better schedule than those all three. So, um, I mean, my sleeper is West Virginia. I think they have it easy a little bit. I feel like they do, um, but I could be wrong. Um, I mean,
I'll give you another sleeper in the Seattle four. I got I got actually yeah I got at least two sleepers here. Um, One of them is Washington State, of course, but the other one is the University of Portland. They're a tough team, and they should have beaten us in November. They were up I believe 19 points, and we had the biggest comeback in program history on them. Um, they're a tough team. They're not going to lay down for anybody. The trick is getting past a team like Louisville. If they can avoid a team like Louisville in this conference and get literally anybody else, uh, um, literally anybody else in this region, maybe not Iowa or UConn, they can beat them. They could be a very good Cinderella team.
I'm with you on that one. I'll give you one. Like I said, I gave Mississippi State. They can surprise some people. Like St. John, I think they can surprise some. Tennessee is my sleeper to get to the Sweet 16. Holy Cross is going to upset Notre Dame. Guaranteed. And we're going to get into that in just a bit. But as we are just I think that's just a question. What's the committee looking into first wins, losses? That's how I see it. Because I mean, they're going to find any way. I think like I said, the first two number one seeds, without a shadow of a doubt, South Carolina, and they have the first team out in West Virginia. That's crazy to me, but I can see why. So, and I mean, you look. This is easy for Iowa, Tennessee Tech, Ole Miss, Gonzaga. They don't really have anybody in their that. To me, that's tough. For me, and I'll talk about this in a later video, I think Maryland can make the Elite Eight, in my opinion. I think the road there, to me, is easy. My concern is Arizona, Marquette, any one of these in the South Bend area can surprise some. North Carolina, shout out to Sean Spencer, his Tar Heels. I see them surprising a couple teams. I see them getting at least the Sweet 16. But other than that, it's really, I think it's going to. We'll see what the committee does tonight. That's going to be the key for me. As we are getting ready to transition into our next subject, we need to get another break in here, and we'll be right back after this song. And we're back. As we get ready to wrap up the episode, one other thing that I think is going to be key in this tournament is the availability and health. We've seen quite a bit of injuries this season. Olivia Miles, who was injured in the final regular season game against Louisville, will she be 100%? North Carolina, they missed some key players down that stretch, and they lost 3 games in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Rory Harmon for Texas. I think it was like 2-3, and they still won the Big 12. So AZ Fudd, she missed 22 games, I want to say. So when Paige is not out there, she's the second best player. And then, really, Aaliyah Edwards, she's put the team on her back for sure. It's going to be really interesting to see with the health of some, and even also to NC State Diamond Johnson. she's been out with an injury. So it's Mike. I'm coming to you, Brenden. Do you think injuries are going to play a role in the seeding?
Yeah, and I think also the comparison of teams. One of the reasons why we beat Utah in the Pac-12 championship or in the Pac-12 tournament was because they were missing an important player. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I just know that that Utah was short-handed to an extent. So yeah, I think injuries will be a factor um in how or in the seeding for sure. Um, but it's like we've said many times. It's going to be interesting what the committee takes into account.
For sure, for sure. Um, I mean, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually it. That's our preview. That's March Madness. I'm nervous because I'm curious to see who gets there. They actually had eight. Charlie had eight ACC teams, um, and two teams respectively from the WCC and the ACC. I was surprised that a colonial athletic conference, Towson University, who finished with the best record, did not get any consideration. And I'm hoping that they do. Shout out to Lauren Harper. Morgan State was actually at one point on the bubble. Look out for them. Um, but there were some schools that I mean that are on the upcoming, and I'm hoping to see those especially Lauren Harper because she coaches Morgan State. So shout out to her, former Maryland Terrapin. Um, but I'm also excited, as we just take a couple minutes here from Maryland. I'm excited for a few, players. Renee Alexander, her first um, March Madness tourney. So, and also to Lavender Briggs, even though I think she was in Florida. Yes, she did. But last year was out due to injury, and she just transferred from Florida. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this Maryland team looks. There are going to be some surprises, and as far as who's going to win the whole thing, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I got to take it. Let me see what all 64, round 64 looks like, and then we'll take it from there. Brenden, what are your takes?
Right. Oh man, it's like South Carolina in it all, but it's almost too easy. Almost, it is too easy. Um, so I'm not there yet. I want to see who can in the round of 64. In I think in terms of highlighting Washington State in this, there I felt like since the Pac-12 tournament, they've entered the conference for a lot of sleeper picks, um, by some by filling out their bracket. Washington State's going to be a big sweep, and I mean rightfully so. Um, I have them going if the right region, if they get the right draw. Um, I can see them going to the Sweet 16, maybe the Elite Eight if they really get the right draw. Uh, in this bracket preview, I can if right upsets happen, I could be Elite Eight. The only or the problems I eventually see are one in Duke. For me, Duke's not really that big problem. I think the problem is UConn. If you're looking at that region, and but they're a team could go to the scene or the Elite Eight, or that could first round. It just depends on what team you're going to get. That is the case for a lot of these teams in the field. So speaking on that, on Washington alone, I think they're going to be a big sweep. They're one of my Cinderella's. I'm excited. Like I said, this is the biggest. This is the most excited I've been for Selection Sunday. It's as a Washington fan, it feels so much more relieving to Selection Sunday knowing you're 100% in, but instead of 2 years wait name called to see if you even made the field. So I'm excited to see how this bracket unfolds, and I'm excited to get this going. March is truly the best month of the year.
I hear you on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot talk today. We're going to transition into the last topic of the show before we end it, and that is, you guys should know it by now, final message.
Incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
So one thing that needs to change is the conference tourneys need to, at least the day before Selection Sunday, there should be no tournaments. I just saw on my phone, Houston just got upset by Memphis, and then Purdue beats Penn State University. Like the day of Selection Sunday, like all the tournaments should be done the day before. That's just me, because I think that kind of puts it's chaos that's not needed, more madness that's not needed. So the men's Selection Sunday actually starts at 6, and then the women's is on 8 Eastern Standard Time. It'll be on that network ESPN. Check it out. I think it's going to be. I think this one. I think a lot of people are going to already. It's going to be expected. So I have no issues with it. So just stay tuned. We're going to check in as each round progresses for March Madness. You'll see Brenden back on here as we get a little bit more close to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, Final Four, and then the big championship, of course. So, Brenden, you have any final words before we end this episode, buddy?
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody at Washington State, watch at the watch party right now, and I'd be very remiss if I didn't end this show with a big go Cougs. So go, and it's gonna be a fun day today.
Yeah, Maryland had one as well, but I couldn't make it, but it's all good.
I'm not home I'm home for spring. Unfortunately, I had to miss it. It would have been so fun to go to.
For sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end this episode. Be tuned in for future episodes. You'll see the remaining episodes of season 13 up. I will leave Brendan's Twitter page in the description below. I'll have this episode go live in a little bit just before the Selection Sunday starts for the women. The other 2 episodes, they'll go live tomorrow. So it may be a little backwards, but it's still going to be in order. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying safe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Stay out.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.